Welcome, welcome. Thank you. So we've just got a couple of videos to share with you to kick this very interesting discussion off.
I've been in the biotech industry for around 20 years, and we've seen this shift of innovation from the big pharma into the smaller biotech companies. And when we saw that shift happen over the last 10 years specifically, we saw an opportunity to invest in early stage biotech companies. They're now the hubs of innovation. As we all know, big pharma like GSK, AstraZeneca, Pfizer have all been closing down sites across the UK. And we've seen that. And most of these big pharma heads of R&D have said around 50% of their innovation will now happen externally. So our fund tries to capture and develop that hypothesis to invest in some of these biotech companies at an earlier stage.
You know, where you pulled that video out, that's quite old, that's good. I don't look like that anymore. And we have one more video.
मैं मिहिर जोशी हूँ। मैं CEO GVFL लिमिटेड। GVFL लिमिटेड वेंचर कैपिटल फर्म है। मैं पर्सनली 20 साल से इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में देख रहा हूँ। हमने 500 करोड़ ऊपर इन्वेस्ट किया होगा स्टार्टअप में। साल की हम 1000 स्टार्टअप देख लेते हैं। वी एंड अप इन्वेस्टिंग इन अराउंड 10 स्टार्टअप ए ईयर। मैं स्टार्टअप फाउंडर को सिर्फ ये बोलना चाहता हूँ कि आप क्या कर रहे हो उस पर फोकस करो। आपके लिए आपका अगर आइडिया जिसमें आप बिलीव करते हो, आपको लगता है कि आप उसको वैल्यू क्रिएट करते हो, पॉसिबिलिटी है आपको 100 में से 90 लोग मिलेंगे कि ये नहीं चलेगा। बिलीव इन योर सेल्फ। जब तक आप बिलीव करोगे, बिलीव मी कि देयर वुड बी सम पीपल हु विल कम एंड बिलीव एंड अल्टीमेटली यू विल क्रिएट अ वैल्यू आउट ऑफ इट। कल के करोड़पति क्योंकि ये गुजरात के एंटरप्रेन्योर को एक मौका दे रहा है कि वो आके पिच करें टू द इन्वेस्टर्स। ये शो क्या एक्सेस देता है? एक एंटरप्रेन्योर जो शो में आके पिच कर रहा है, ठीक है, वो 4 इन्वेस्टर के पास पिच कर रहा है, लेकिन आप ये सोचिए वो इन्वेस्टर पिच कर रहा है वो उन सारे लोगों को जो ये शो देख रहे हैं। वो शो देखने वाले कोई एस्पायरिंग एम्प्लॉय भी हो सकते हैं, कोई आपके स्टेक होल्डर हो सकते हैं, कोई आपके कस्टमर हो सकते हैं, कोई आपके पोटेंशियल फ्यूचर इन्वेस्टर हो सकते हैं। वो ये इंपॉर्टेंट चीज वो एंटरप्रेन्योर को लाके देता है।
That's great.
Thank you.
I mean, I understood most of that. My Hindi's not great, but my wife talks to me in Hindi normally when she's telling me off. So I do understand some Hindi, and I think what you've done is amazing. By the way, that's like incredible. And this is like a real Indian investor investing in Indian businesses. You get a lot of people from the international scene, I imagine, coming into India, trying to invest, but you've grown up in this industry for 25 years. You've done this while people were still in their nappies, half the time. So look, thank you very much for coming to this session. And even on the pre-call yesterday, I was like amazed at what you've achieved and what you've done. So I think we're going to start by letting you introduce yourself. Just to give a little bit of background of how you started to come into the investment industry, and what the kind of businesses are that you invest in. Let's just start with that.
So 25 years back, so GVFL Limited was the first entry point of my experience, a real life experience of.
So what did you do before GVFL? What was your?
So it was more of academics education, and then landed up in GVFL, not knowing fully well what the venture capital is all about. And
back then, 25.
No, there was no idea about what.
Then no one knew what venture was.
Where am I getting into, right?
Yeah.
So 23 years old guy who is quite enthusiastic about everything, and so you land up in something wherein you are exposed to many different industries, different sectors and other things, right? And the enthusiasm level, because you are the youngest guy, right? So in office, everybody would be like your boss and will be putting some work to you, and it is up to your enthusiasm, how much you grab. And you start with all kind of kachra activity and other stuff. And then what I experienced early in venture capital, The point is, if you are excited about anything, the learning curve matures much faster. That is number one. You are expected to talk about any sector, understand any sector, value chain, everything. And then if there is more excitement, there is always a fulfilling part. Okay, these companies, and in those days it used to happen because there were not many venture capitalists around. So let's assume...
some of the audience may know what venture capital is, some may not.
No, I will
So maybe you can just as well say, what is venture capital?
So venture capital is when somebody has a great idea or a great technology.
And you can switch into Hindi as well, that's fine.
So if somebody has a great idea or technology or product and feel that it can be a great business, one can create out of it. But of course, it requires capital. In our traditional sense in India, while we were younger, maybe 15 years back, and it was not uncommon, and many of you people would have heard of, if you have ancestral inherited properties, baap dada na paisa hoye to dhandho thai. You can't get into a business unless you are rich. So that was the perception. And why that perception was? Because any business guy, it was presumed that he need to put up the land, building, plant and machinery, good office, good car. If he does not have a car or nice office, even the vendor and customer will not like to deal the business with this, right? What has changed, and maybe in last 15 years, because the startup ecosystem has matured. Now there is a technology intervention. So technology has penetrated across the sector, that is number one. High computing power ability, the internet connectivity has solved many of the things. It has democratized everything. So there is hardly any difference between...
So, what I'm amazed at, with a question in my brain...
No, I'm coming to...
Now I'm thinking, okay, we invest in technology. But back 25 years ago, what kind of businesses did you invest in to get a venture type return?
So most of the time, it was like... GVFL, while it was created, first 10 years it was the World Bank money which has come to GVFL. So in fact, GVFL was created to absorb World Bank money. So it came with the mandate that what is a venture capital? Means anywhere you are investing in innovation, on-tried technology, which has a global potential, that money need to be invested in. So your first test was that, okay, does it meet or not? Then you evaluate the entrepreneur, his business strategy and other things, and you end up being like a solo investor because you will not have the second round investor, third round investor. So you have a product market fit. You did a pilot well in Ahmedabad or Gujarat, but how do you scale it up? You don't have the right kind of capital.
What kinds of businesses? Was it more like was it like generic type stuff?
No. Not generic type. So it was always innovation. Like for example, in early days, some food technology we have invested in, some RO technology in India. Globally, if something first time found was in 1990 in Baroda, one Baroda-based company, we could not scale to a market, but those were early days because you were ahead of the market, wherein whether the RO technology is need of the market or not, because people were used to have a tap water, right? So you come up with that thing. Then there was one company in micronized mineral, a great technology, and then there was a company in the coloring. There was one telecom product. We invested in a company. A company was pre-revenue for 3 years. Then we struggled because the founder started fighting. You don't have money and second round, so naturally you will have all struggle around. But great telecom product. We ended up selling in 2007 to Flextronics. So
you've had an extraordinary number of exits when I look at your profile.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll come back to the exits, but okay. So just because if anyone has a great there are different stages of investing. You're looking at the entrepreneur, you're looking at deal sourcing and other things. But the first question I've got for you, it's like when you look at an entrepreneur, what is it? Because you had a huge, you've invested in a huge number. I thought I'd invested in a lot of companies. When I look at, that's 35. When I look at how many of you've invested in, it's such a larger volume. So you get an idea of what it is you're looking for in an entrepreneur. So what is that X factor that you're looking for?
So anyway, it goes without saying, somebody should have a great idea, great product, and have demonstrated up to a level.
It's almost like you have to have that as a given.
Right.
Yeah, you have to have something there.
Unless, so of course.
Or would you invest in a business with not very much product, not a great fit, but a person you think this guy's going to do something amazing?
It's very difficult to measure, and even I will tell, and most of the VC says second term founder we will invest in. So the success in one company does not lead to a success in a second company. So betting on a founder is something everybody tells globally, but that is not how the venture capital works. Because unless you are clearly be focused on, okay, this is what the product or technology, why I be, and what could be a differentiated, what could be a business model, how would I scale it up, and what amount of money would it require. It's very difficult because, see, imagine a scenario for ourselves in day-to-day life. Unless we are focused and clear about okay, what next 12 months I will do, you can't really chart a path for a monthly basis or a weekly basis. So you can't really be trusting on a guy who will tell you, I will come up with a great idea or great something, I'm experimenting with maybe A, B, C, something will work. It does not work that way. And I have seen many of the investors who invest because you feel it's a great founder. Why is great founder? Because it's a great narrator or storyteller. And most of the startup investment, India or globally, it is a function of the great storytelling or narrative. The idea could be copycat. So you can have an idea, I can have a similar idea, you can have a great storytelling capability. Probably you have the first round, maybe a second round. And by the time you have a second round, there is a differentiation because the press or media would be talking about yourself. There will be a PR agency working. There may be a social media marketing because the moment the funding is in place, you have a better ability to hire the marketing. Rather, the digital marketing agencies try to be around like honeybees. Wherever they see is, okay, there is a money to scheme, right? So the point is, okay, the early money make a differentiation and make the story and narrative on a faster pedestal so that you can raise maybe a third round, fourth round, depending on what the market size is. And it goes without saying that venture capitalists invest wherever there is a large market. So if there is a large market and if you have experimented something, if you have a story to tell, people, early believer believes it. So as of now, you are having the storyteller, right? Now you have two investors. So three people are telling the story.
Let me just, I got this understanding great. So you will invest in someone, an entrepreneur, who can tell a good story. And that's good for the first and second rounds because you need to be able to raise money. And you need to be able to tell people about what you're doing in a way that they think, okay, I can get this. This guy can raise money. And I think he understands the commercial and the product market mix. But as you scale the business globally, you may need a different type of entrepreneur who then can scale and trade a business in a different way. So sometimes through the growth of the business, you might have to take out the founder and maybe put a professional CEO in there. Have you found you need to do that? And say, look, the founder was good for the first 2-3 rounds, but actually to take this global, we need a different kind of guy here. So do you often
that happens because...
we do that a lot because we invest in companies which are academics. Like you've got academic guy who's technically a great founder and is good at like some of the sciencey stuff, but as the business scales, you often have a very difficult conversation with the founder. Say, actually, you were good at then, but now we need someone else to scale it, and that's a hard conversation.
It's a hard conversation, but in my fund life, it will not happen because we are investing in the early stage. Believe me, whatever the people say, till the time the company achieves maturity level, professional CEO does not work. It does not fit into your organizational structure. It needs to be the founder and co-founder. If you chose to bet on a founder and co-founder, which you eventually, maybe a year or 2 years later, realize that these are not the competent guy, you need to live with that because it's very difficult to replace with, one, because they are holding some equity. Second thing is, you don't know whether the professional you will, and most of we don't have that kind of luxury to put more money. But let's assume you are a bigger fund, you have ability to put 20 crores first, but you have also ability to put 100 crores, right? You don't mind correcting your previous mistake by putting another 50 crores, hiring professional CEO at a salary of maybe 1 crore or 2 crores. What motivates that professional CEO? Is it a salary or achieving a scale is also a debatable. And so the clear-cut experience so far.
Get dynamic between equity and growth versus salary and income and trying to find someone who's really motivated. And the founder is obviously very motivated to make their company work. So it is a very difficult dynamic. So I'm just going to go back again. So you invested in these early companies 25 years ago, but you've seen the industry evolve and mature. So how have you seen, what kind of business do you think are getting funded now?
So I will tell you how the journey took place. So between 2000 and 2010, we were the only fund which were investing in technology companies. And again, in technology company, you have a certain different sector would have a different technology, not necessarily scalable. Only which can make money was more of IT services company. So we had early bet in maybe a 2 or 3 IT services company. It did very, very well. We could exit it and that could make my fund returns well, right? So those were the time. Other private equity fund, many of them came into the market because RBI facilitated by some press note 2, 3, so that they can do the venture capital investment in the infrastructure space. All of them, because infrastructure by design are leverage assets, right?
Yeah.
These are not typically venture capital. From 2012-13 onwards, because the internet and everything started happening up, so the e-commerce and then disintermediation started happening up across the business model. So because when we talk about a startup, what startup does, it solves a pain point, right? Or market inefficiency, so it brings transparency. Now, pain point and inefficiencies, if anybody need to globally map where do the pain point exist, the India is the biggest market, wherein all kind of pain point, every sector, you name any sector, you will have the opportunities. So, and the point is now, the ecosystem is in place. So in last 10 years, you have incubators, accelerators, then many angel investors. And why many angel investors? Because if you look at last 3 seasons of Shark Tank. So what happens is because of the Shark Tank, or maybe Kal Ke Crorepati.
So Shark Tank is like your cereal.
So in Shark Tank, what happens? Because
for the non-Indian people, i.e. me.
So
that's a series that comes on where investors, angels pitch. We have something similar in the UK. So you have people pitching for money to angels, and the panel.
Correct. No, but the point is Shark Tank. Most of the people would be viewing Shark Tank, and many of them will realize, okay, this person who is pitching, he does hardly 2 crores, 3 crores revenue. And the good part about Shark Tank is they present only the startup ideas which are easy to relate by the audience.
Yeah.
So it's relatable. If somebody is doing 2 crores revenue, asking for 50 crores valuation, this guy in maybe a rural area think, okay, I am also doing and I can do. Why would I not do it, right?
So it's inspired in
So it inspires, maybe in good way, bad way, whatever. Yeah. That is how you start experimenting, right? So there is a euphoria in the youngster. Okay, why do I get into jobs? Because this is a better way, it's a shortcut to make the wealth generation. It's not essentially a shortcut, but anyway, you start with something and then you lead to somewhere, right? The second part is, because there are huge wealth available to many of the HNIs or family offices, right? Like, for example, you are a great real estate guy, made maybe 500 crores, or maybe you have sold your legacy business, created 1,000 crore, or maybe you are running a legacy business, but your kids came from USA after studying and they don't want to be part of it. They want this startup is fashion, right?
Yeah.
Now, these people have money, but Shark Tank will not call them, right? So you, out of your imagination, you believe, okay, I am also a shark. And then there will be the incubation center, the other players, then the angel platform. We will appeal to this, your feeling which is unmet, right? Yeah, you are great. You can be a shark. So why don't you come? We will have a pitching, right?
So there's a difference. So angel investors are people who've made their own money and invest directly into companies.
So they invest.
It is part of a fund, so that's a much more professional approach to investing with larger pots. So how do you work with the angels in your ecosystem, or do you not? Do you say, like, if it's angel backed, we shouldn't be playing, or do you like try and work with the angels?
No, so we don't differentiate whether it's angel backed, it's a good startup or not. But one thing is clear, unlike in the past 5 years back, wherein the startup will come without any external equity, right? The problem with that, they would not have scaled to a level. I will tell, okay, you scale to a level, then come back to me. Then probably he will never come back to me, many of them, because they could not get the opportunity to demonstrate. Like, you have a great product, but how would you demonstrate unless you have money, right? Now, because of the angel investors, you have that ability to demonstrate. And once you cross that path, demonstration, there are around more than 1,000 funds in the market like us, who will compete against each other, right? And so that is good for the entrepreneur. At the end of the day, they get 2 things. One is, if you are entrepreneur, if you think that every week I need to do at least 1 pitching, you will find the audience. Audience means essentially investor, who will be hearing, and your pitch will get refined, right? By maybe 6 months, you would have made presentation to at least 50 different forum or investors. And by 51st pitch, so somebody could be good storyteller, story or narrator, right? Could be in his first or second pitch could have an investor, but otherwise also one can have.
So I'm going to quickly, because I can't believe how quickly the time's gone actually, and it's running down. But I wanted to get into some of your investments. And so I'm going to ask you, what's the most exciting investment that you've backed and that you think has a huge amount of potential moving forward?
So there are many stories.
Give us an example. Give us a nice
I
case
will
study.
make very generic so that I can connect with the audience. So we invested in one company called E-Info-Chips, which was ASIC embedded chip designing.
What's it called, sorry?
E-Info-Chips.
E-Info-Chips.
A local company. While we invested, it was a 50 engineers company. While we sold to one USA company, they had 2,000 engineering, great amount of profits and other things.
You've actually invested and you've sold exit.
Yeah, we made 50x. It could cover up some of the problem which we created for ourselves.
So he invested in a company and then it increased the value by 50 times and sold it to an American business. So that's the dream.
Maybe I can tell the second extreme, wherein it was not easy at any point of time. Like one boy came to me and he said, I have created a product. So while he is biomedical engineering study, he came across a biomaterial called chitosan, which has blood clotting properties. So he said, I made a product out of it. If you put to profuse bleeding, it can clot the blood in a natural way. So any bullet shift injury or accidental injury where the blood will not stop, even you can't really operate in the trauma center. There is no other other solution to it, right? So he said, okay, I can do with it. So I said, okay, the product is working. I checked up with this 108 and trauma center in the civil hospital. So he said, product is working. So then we said, okay, we will invest. But with a small investment, what do? You can't create your own facility. So I spoke to one pharma company. I said, okay, we will put one machine into your company and one person. So allow us, we will have some contract agreement with you. He said, okay. We went to a drug licensing authority. We said, okay, give us a license. Then they said, okay, this product is not subject to any license. So I read Drug Cosmetic 1940. I went to those authorities. If I apply voluntarily, you need to license me because we are a responsible investor, right? So we got a license. Then we had all samples and everything. Then I spoke to the health secretaries and everybody that can you help us on the clinical trials? So the expert opinion came, you don't require, because it's just external things, you don't require clinical trials. I said, you are coming in contact with the blood, right? So there could be efficacy, toxicity, God knows what will happen. So it took 2 years in clinical trials, documentation, everything. And then we apply for CE certification. After this 3 years, that founder used to run around on a bike because with my money, he can only afford that kind of stuff. So after 3 years, Excel partner put in a big amount of money. Then IDG Venture, now known as Chiratra Venture, they put in more money. Ratan Tata Fund, we flipped the structure to USA. So raised more than 150 crores. Our fund life was over, so we got
so this is a company that you basically had to really step in to help and support from the beginning.
Correct.
So as a venture capitalist, it doesn't mean you put money in and you just sit back and relax. Most of us who invest into startups, half the time we have to take up the executive positions because, they maybe not have the right skills mix. And because you put your money in there, you're going to try and help and support those companies. And probably Mihir's he's done so many investments. He's probably like in the morning he's doing blood clotting, in the evening he's doing silicon chips. So you're basically doing such a variety of things in the same day. Half the time you're helping them fundraise, half the time you're, being your BD guy. Second half is like, okay, let me make a connection into pharma. It sounds like you did that this time and try to structure some kind of deal there. So there's actually a lot of different things you're doing as an investor. You're really trying to help and support your companies, and I think that's what you're trying to describe. And he's trying to describe, if you do that and you do that very well, and you have to be persistently good at it, then you may get some good exits at the other end, in which I think you've gone. So I asked him what his hobbies are. He goes, I'm an investor. I get up in the morning and I'm on it. Basically you switch on. You've got so many portfolios, just and by the evening you're wiped out. So I think that's probably how you are.
So we look at around 100 startups. We end up investing in 2 of them. But the point is,
so every 100 business plans that he gets on his desk, he only invests in 2. So that's a very,
So the point is,
so it's very selective.
Selective, but the point is, over a period of time, learning curve also matured. And I will tell you how it works. Like, for example, if you look at, let's assume EV space. So you will understand the cell technology, NMC, LFP, how does it work, what is power density, what could be globally a lithium pricing, how does it work, who are the major producer, and then the product category. So there would be a battery, what could be a value addition, and then battery management software, how does it work, then controller, how do they work, and then powertrain, and maybe a motor, and different technologies in motor. So once you have understood a piece of it, then you can just think about okay, what could be a business model out of it. So it could be a consumer facing some vehicle you create out of it, or you can have a different use case, or you can have a business model around. So the point is, once you have gone through entire thing, and globally what are the anomaly technology, and in fact,
so on that point though, just to bridge into it,
so any proposal then comes, you tell maybe 2 lines, I will know where you are going, right? So the point is, it's always with experience, the learning curve matures.
So,
and
moving forward, because I want to know, the question in my brain is burning, it's like, next stage of innovation, I'm very focused on biotech, so I only really know biotech, and I don't really know much else. But where do you think the next stage of innovation, in terms of, you've seen 25 years, what are the next things you're looking for that you think can have global appeal, especially in the new environment that we're in geographically?
So maybe have 5 minutes, maybe I can explain some.
Maybe we haven't got 5 minutes, maybe got 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes, Sajid, are we good? 2 minutes.
So he did not say 5 minutes, because 30 seconds.
But I've got a leeway there.
So biotechnology, we have experimented biotechnology. We ended up, 15 years back, we ended up investing in some novel drug discovery.
Like a novel therapeutic, or anything?
Novel therapy, like you can cure cancer out of it, because there are preclinical
okay.
results, right? Or HIV, or maybe allergy, asthma.
Yeah.
So we end up investing. And then globally we understood that is in-licensing and out-licensing always work. So the moment it leads to maybe a phase 1, you can out-license to anybody, right? And that is how we understood a business model.
Yeah.
But then we realized that sitting in India, it is not possible, right? We struggle around, and and you can't really find investors. Because the point is, in biotechnology in USA, you can reach to $1 billion company with the private equity money every time without revenue. In India, it's not possible.
Is that, do you think that India is not, is it because they haven't seen the exits in drug discovery and development?
No,
therefore they're not investing in innovation?
We then left, okay, biotechnology is something very difficult terrain we need to get into. I will tell you, 3 years back, I was reading the report of animal husbandry, Ministry of Animal Husbandry. What does it say? India has a population of 19 crores cattle, means cow and their male part, 11 crores buffalo, 8.5 crores poultry. So your protein requirement, 38.5 crores moving animals, they meet, right? So what could be alternative way? It talks about everything, that report. So there is a need of alternative protein, the alternative meat and everything.
Meat-free.
But in India, you can't find. So I searched around globally. In USA, there are multi-billion-dollar company, pre-revenue company. In this space, whether it's alternative protein, working on manufacturing out of factory, or maybe, believe me, I said to myself, okay, in India it's not possible. In 15 days time, 2 co-founders came to me, they said we made a casein protein.
Okay.
So how did they make? They took a ghee cow, milk, genes, and manipulated with microorganism, and then in bioreactor they synthesized and extracted protein out of it, and which casein. So came with all reports and other stuff. I verified it with some Singapore expert connected to Spain. We invested within 1.5 months, the word spread, and the company was sitting with 150 crores term sheet. They were looking only 10 crore fundraise. We limited to 32 crores. But the point is, everybody told me, those experts, you have found something gem. Yeah. And globally, it's a global patent. Nobody has cracked. It's just in Surat, they have a facility. They are working on this. In next another 2 months, 2 co-founder, both PhD, one in biotechnology and biochemistry, came to me, said, do you know that these cows are subjected to multiple pregnancy? Then I said, yes, because of milking purpose. Okay, no, sir, it is not milking purpose only. In developed markets, the cows are made pregnant and they are killed. Just to take the fetus out, because in fetus, the blood has the maximum growth factor. So which is then with growth factor, you make fetal bovine serum, which goes into entire pharmaceutical, stem cell, wherein you require growth factor. You need to grow the culture very fast, right? So I said, what do you do? He said, I have developed an alternative of it. So I said, how do we validate it? So he said, this could be potential user, all pharmaceuticals and everybody, right? Then IIT Gandhinagar was one of the institution which was importing 85,000 rupees per milligram. So I spoke to IIT Gandhinagar. They were okay to check this product. They experimented and called me up, it is getting the same result. So they were importing at 85,000 rupees per milligram. I checked with this guy, what is the cost? He said, I'm manufacturing liters. I don't have a problem. So imagine a scenario, okay, you are replacing this fetus bovine serum killing cow with alternative, which has a multi-billion-dollar market globally and nobody's cracked it. He has a patent. So then IIT Gandhinagar, then I checked with IIT Mumbai, कि ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? So IIT Mumbai, I checked up with him. They said, we are also importing. So I said, okay, now with confidence, you use this product. So they used it. Called me back, it is giving the perfect result. So now I was not required to check with them further. I said, कि कहाँ use किया तुम लोगों ने? तो believe me, surprisingly, that 24 years old boy was experimenting alternative meat. So he was growing chicken in a laboratory.
Yeah.
तो मैंने कहा कि कब से कर रहे हो? तो बोलता है 2 साल से कर रहा हूँ, मैं ग्रोथ फैक्टर यूज़ करता हूँ, अभी इसका यूज़ किया. So I said, okay, it's working. So I took some of my non-vegetarian colleagues. मैंने कहा टेस्ट करो. So same texture, same taste.
Tasting.
You have a better nutritional content, and it is antibiotic free, disease free, and everything. So that boy now, then I said, okay, can we experiment in larger audience? Believe in front of me. In next 15 days, he gathered around 100 restaurant here and some celebrity that chefs. कि भाई इसको टेस्ट करो. Everybody was so gung-ho about it. And believe me, it changes entire landscape because you can manufacture out of lab.
Yeah.
अब ये मैं करके बैठा था, उसके 2 महीने में one local entrepreneur came to me. He is a PhD in biotechnology, and then PhD he did research in Johns Hopkins in USA. So he came to me. He said, "Sir, do you know that blood has a growth factor?" मैंने कहा पता है, growth factor होता है blood में. ठीक है, sir. मैंने कहा what do you do with that? So he said, "I'm talking about human blood and its growth factor, right?" मेरे दिमाग में तो fetus ही था. So he said that diabetic foot is a massive problem. It means there is no solution to it. If somebody has a diabetes and if there is a wound, the foot amputation will take. So with a diabetic foot, 50% of the people gets into foot amputation. There is no solution. In India, there is a 2 lakh people undergoes foot amputation every year. And government gives 50,000 rupees to hospital because how a patient will afford this amputation, right? So somebody need to pay it just to cut the leg, right? So, and USA also is the same problem because there is no alternative. So what did he do? He said, I take the patient's blood and I take out the cells, I re-engineer those cells, which is essentially growth factor, I convert into gel, which is transported back to hospital. Hospital just to need to put the gel on that wound, dressing kar lo. Within 3 weeks, you open dressing, 6 महीने में it will heal. So मैंने कहा कहाँ किया तुमने? He took me to civil hospital. Believe me, civil hospital, the doctor said that this guy came to me, I did not believe it. Then he showed me the mechanism part of it because the doctor need to be explained in the medical term. How the mechanism of action, how the cells, how regenerative ability, how your neuropathy will work. So then it's a neuropathy, right? The cells are dead. They can't have that ability to proliferate and have a communication to repair itself, right? So the point is, once the doctor understood, he said, okay, there is a case to it. So he said, okay, clinical trials, let us leave it aside. I conduct a investigative study. Investigative study उसने किया on 50 patients. On 50 patients which were admitted for amputation, all of them saved. All legs saved. So they are under formal clinical trial. So what I'm saying, we are running out of time. These are all great innovation. You talk about biotechnology, otherwise I would not have touched this.
I let you go, and I'm getting aggrieved. The reason why I let it go is I love the story. I think it's amazing. I think the businesses you're investing are amazing, and they're quite disparate and diverse, and you have to engage yourself in biotech, tech, and so many different areas. You're one of the most experienced investors in India that I've met. And I think you're still currently investing as well. You've got a new fund coming up as well. So I just want to, A, thank you for your time. B, it's a privilege to meet you. C, hopefully we can connect on things in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.